Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. It's Laura from Meerkat Makes by Elle and I'm on the Grafix Arts YouTube channel today, sharing some inspiration in the mixed media journal. Now in my previous video we created this journal page and these were some of the leftover Frisket film stencils that I'd created, and I said to you, don't get rid of them, you can use them for another project, and so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be working on a page from the mixed media journal. This is the opaque black Dura-Bright, and I'm going to have a little play around with the layout first of all before we start creating our project. So I have left the backing sheet on these for the moment just while I'm playing around with the layout, but because they are low tack and they're easily removed, they don't leave any residue behind, you could stick them down and remove them if you'd prefer. Now I've got some Amsterdam acrylic paints. I'm sticking with the same colour scheme as before and I'm adding in this gorgeous olive green light colour from the Amsterdam line of acrylic paints. I'm going to apply it through a stencil. This is from Rubber Dance. This is the Sketchy Leave 6 stencil, and I'm going to apply it through the stencil using a foam blending applicator. So I've just got my non-stick mat there. I'm going to work on a scrap of paper so that I don't get paint all over my desk. Though it wouldn't matter, it is obviously glass mat, so I could wipe it off, but this will just make my life a little bit easier. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of paint there on my non-stick mat, and then I'm going to dab in my foam blending tool and then apply that through the stencil. I'm being careful not to pick up too much paint because I don't want it to go underneath the stencil. I'd like as crisp an outline as possible, but obviously you'll see as we go, I don't end up with a perfect application. I think I was a little bit impatient, and obviously when you've applied paint through a stencil first of all, you will end up with maybe a little bit of paint on the reverse that's going to leave marks if you then use a different section of this stencil. So that's what's happened here a little bit, but we're going to easily fix that now by just adding some splatters. So I've just watered down my paint with a spritz of water, and then I'm just using a paintbrush to add some splatters to the background. I'm going to clean up the mess, wait for the paint to dry, and now we can come in and stick our Frisket film down. So I'm removing the backing sheets and then I'm just sticking the pieces down on the layout. And then I almost finish the layout and think, oh, actually, I want to add a little bit more to this background. And so this is where the Frisket film is great. We can just peel it all back off again and start again. So I'm going to add some stamping using this Rubber Dance stamp set from Mix It Up 4. And I'm going to use the Stamps by Me white pigment ink. This is a nice crisp white ink, and I'm just going to add some text stamping all over the background. Now, because it is a pigment ink and we're stamping on plastic, you will want to give it a little bit of time to dry. You could use a heat tool very lightly to just dry that ink. But once it's dry, I'm then going to add these Frisket film pieces back on over the top. And I'm making sure that the kind of stamped images that I'd made originally are kind of facing the right way, how I want them on my project. I'm using a bone fold just to burnish the Frisket film onto the background and make sure that it's nice and stuck down. I'm going to trim the excess off with my long bladed Tim Holtz scissors, and then I'm going to add those extra little bits along the edges as well, just so that we've got a really nice coverage on our background. And I think these look great with the leaves behind them and the text, and then that lovely pop of blue from the Frisket film. And I love the fact that it's slightly translucent as well, where I've not got acrylic paint, so you can still see through the Frisket film to the design underneath. So once I'm happy with the layout, I'm then going to come in with a acrylic paint marker. So I've got these Nahuku markers from Ohuhu. These are just acrylic marker pens, and I'm going to use this gorgeous vibrant pink colour. This is R31, and I'm going to give it a shake, and then I'm just going to outline all of the Frisket film circles. And this is really just going to help the design pop. That pink just adds another pop of colour, which is really nice. It complements the green and the blue really well as a contrasting colour. And so once I've outlined all of those circles, I'm then going to add some marks. This is the Marks 3 stencil from Rubber Dance, and so I'm just using the acrylic pen through the stencil. And I like the fact that I've got a lot of control here with the pen. I can just add a few of those marks randomly through the stencil. Of course, you don't need a stencil for this. You could hand draw them on if you prefer and if you're confident, but I really like the fact that I've got a stencil that is allowing me to add those kind of marks through it as well. So I'm going to pop that aside, and I've got this piece of clear Dura-Lar. And I've also got a white acrylic pen from that Nahuku set I showed you earlier from Ohuhu. And I'm going to be using the We'd Love 2025 stamp set from Rubber Dance. So I'm going to just create a really nice stamped frame on the clear Dura-Lar, and then that will kind of add a front to our journal page as well, and it'll also give us a nice place for a sentiment. So again, I'm going to give the pen a really good shake, and then I'm just going to colour in the stamped image. Now, another way that you could do this is add some white acrylic paint to a non-stick mat, use a brayer, and then brayer the paint on your stamp. But I had that pen to hand and I find it just as easy to do this. So all you're doing is colouring your stamped image and then stamping it on the clear Dura-Lar. And this is a great way of creating a frame for a journal page behind it. I love the fact that you can stamp on this clear Dura-Lar and create a really fun background or a really fun journal page. And so I'm just going to go all the way around the edges. I'm using different stamps as we go. We've got lots of different foliage and floral elements in this stamp set, and I really love the silhouette design of these stamps. I'm then just going to place it over my original page, and I'm just going to work out where I can add a few more bits of stamping using some of the smaller stamps. I will lightly heat set it with my heat tool on the lowest setting, and then I will just pop it aside to dry while I get my sentiment ready. So I've actually used the A to Z stamp set from Rubber Dance, and I've just stamped in acrylic paint this sentiment that says "Be among the wildflowers." So I'm just playing around with the layout here. All I've done off camera is stamp the letters, cut them out, and then I'm just going to add the sentiment on with some liquid glue. And I just thought this was a really nice phrase to go on my journal page. The A to Z stamp set is really fun because, of course, you've got the versatility to create whatever sentiment you want. And I used the same Nahuku acrylic markers from Ohuhu to stamp my words down or letters down as well. So I did the same technique. I'm just going to hold it down with my magnets to make sure the glue dries. And then once that's dry, you can see the finished 2 pages here. So I really love that that clear layer is so transparent and that you've got that lovely kind of border around it with the flowers. This is the first journal page that we created, and then the 2 will layer over each other really nicely in the journal. So I'm going to pop those into my mixed media journal now. And it's nice and easy to do with the ring binder system. So I love the fact that you can add pages, take pages out. And, you know, if you do make a mistake, you can just remove the page and start again. So that's our finished page for today. I really hope that this has given you some inspiration for ways to use the fab products from Grafix Arts. Don't forget to check out their website where you can find a stockist near you. All the products that I've used will be listed in the description box below. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on this video. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think of the pages we've created today. And if you're not subscribed to the Grafix Arts YouTube channel, then please consider doing so. There's lots of inspiration that's uploaded regularly too. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care.